All right. So the first thing I want to discuss today is about the viewers viewer to help us to be able to map out our to visualize the connections between our literature. Okay, so I'll move on to share my screen. Okay, and please confirm if you see my screen. Can anyone confirm if you see my screen?
Yes, I can see VOS.
All right. Yeah, viewers viewer. Okay, so when you go to the viewers viewer .com website, download, you can have either Mac or Windows. I think they also have for Linux or other systems. So you can just download this. So I just downloaded it just for the illustration purposes. So you just click on, for me it's Windows. So you just click on this one and then you download. So let me re-download again, just for practice sake. Okay, so maybe hopefully we all should be downloading the viewers viewer at the same time. I think it will give us a few minutes also to wait for the others. So I hope we are all downloading. Mine is 25 seconds left. If you also have it already, then it's fine. I had to uninstall it just for I can show the whole process again. All right. Okay. All right. So it's done. Can extract the file and save it wherever you want to save it. But basically we are installing the .exe. If it's Mac, I think it's another extension. They also have a manual, so you can further look at it. So let me just open the manual at the same time. Okay, so yes. So once you successfully installs, you have an interface like this. Okay. So do we all have this, or I should wait a moment for a while?
Please, are you taking individual answers?
Oh, one or two people have it, it's okay. Then I can't move on. Yeah, I just want to see if we are all on the same page as much as
Now
possible.
download.
Okay, we'll wait. I'll wait for it like 2 minutes, then we'll continue. Has anyone successfully downloaded the VOS and installed it? Anyone have the same interface on the screen? Okay, so I think we can catch up once I go on. Okay, so for VOS viewer, it has mostly you can use your own for example, if you've used Mendeley or Zotero and any other of the reference managers. So you can import all your references in one file, and then you view the relationships between the papers. Okay, just like it does in connected papers. So let me just go to connected papers and just, I think we've done this before, but just for a refresher. So if you go to connectedpapers.com, it's an AI that helps you to find the link between different, let's say, let me just give an example. In, let's say, healthcare, machine learning healthcare, for example, this is the topic, right? And hopefully it finds a paper for me, right? So if I use maybe this one, then I want to find a relationship between that particular paper and other papers in literature. It finds this kind of node or how do you call it, network for me. So we want to do the same thing using viewers viewer. But with viewers viewer, we have different formats. So you can see, if you can see my PDF file, let me make it full. It can show it to you in terms of the journals. It can show in terms of the keywords. It can show in terms of the ATA. It can show in terms of various things. Okay, so depending on how you want to customize it, you can get different kind of network that you are drawing. And you can use these kind of figures in your thesis or paper or whatever. Okay, that's what we want to do. So starting with the first one, let's go to, let's say, Mendeley again, or okay, let me start from Web of Science. Okay, so for example, I go to Web of Science and then I'm looking for some papers, right? So whilst it's loading, let me also go to my Mendeley. So we'll use the two approaches. If you have other, okay. So in this case, I want to use this from the old thing we did last time. Oh, it's empty. Okay, this is not so many. I want one that has a lot. Maybe this one. Okay. So I want to export this particular, how do you call it? Yes. So I'll go to export and then I'll try and save it in more than one format so that we just figure out. Okay. So I'll use the first one. If you're using EndNote, you can also save it in this format. And then .ris. So I'll first save it here like this. So you have a list of references in your reference manager. So let's say reference from Mendeley or something like this. Okay. And I'll save it on my desktop so it's easy to find. Okay, so that's in big text, and then I'll still save the same thing in RIS. I just want us to see something. Okay, so it's still references Mendeley, but it's in a different format. Okay, so this is one way you can do it. Or the second way also, it's like from here, as we've already done. So let's say healthcare sector, add, let's say machine learning. Maybe add, let's say what? Okay, two is okay. All right. So we can search. Let's hope we find something. Okay. So I have over, what's the number? 1,342, right? So I want to export. So I click here, export. Um, Let me start with plain text file. Let's try plain text file. And then we do records from 1 to 1,000. I think this is the limit. And then abstracts. And then I export it as okay, so it's still loading. I think 1,000 is a lot. Okay, into a plain text file, right? So we see which of the formats, it's in the manual, but I just want us to experiment which of the formats works for viewers viewer. Okay, so because it's taking a while, let me just go back to viewers viewer. Okay, so basically there are three types of visualizations you can use. You can use the network visualization, the overlay visualization, and the density visualization. So I want to create a new map, so I'll say open. Okay, so viewers viewer, and then okay, map file, right? Good. So I'll go to wherever I can find my file, text file. So it allows text file, it allows CSV. So far I don't have any of them. Okay, so let me go back. Did it download? Okay, so I have the TXT file. Then let's go back to the same export. Let me use the RIS, and then maybe, no, let's use the Excel first because it needs Excel. Okay, so export once again. Okay, so we can go here. I think now I have all files maybe. Let's try the first one. Okay, so it doesn't work. All right, so we go back to the text file. Where is the text file? It's in downloads, I think. Oops. Okay, let me check where it is. Didn't see where it downloaded. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Next. Error while reading. Why? Okay. Wait. Okay, all right. So you go to create. I was opening whilst I didn't have a VS file. Sorry, it's create. So you go to create. Um, so create a map based on network data. We don't have that one. So you can create a map based on bibliographic data, or you can create it based on text data. So let's see the bibliographic. We can choose from here. Okay, Web of Science, the second one. Yes. Or we can choose from either a reference manager, right? So let's do the one from Web of Science first. So next, Web of Science, and then I go to where the location is, which is this one. Okay, then I finish or next. Okay, error reading. Wow. Okay, today just looks like it's on another dimension. Okay, let me try another one. Or files, and I try save records. Incorrect number of columns. Wow. Okay, let me try this also. Endnotes, no RIS format. Oh, finally. Okay, so it works for the RIS. I don't know why my Web of Science is not working. So for the files that are 682, maybe it's not so many. Okay, let me try another one. I want one that is quite huge. Okay, so I'm exporting 4,000 and I'm using the RIS format. Okay, so let me make it export. Okay, so you save it with the location, then you go back to here, and then it's file create. We are creating a new one, and it's based on bibliographic data, right? Then next, then I'm choosing the last option, which is the RIS format. Next. So I'm changing the name of the file to export. Yeah, I want the export one. Okay, finish. Some of the 371 your network are not connected to each other. The largest set of connected items consists of 241. Do you want to show this set instead of all of them? Yes. So it's just showing me the connected ones. So if they don't have any link, it will it will not show them. It will just show them as separate. So here it's showing it as just the artist, and you can also see the ES on here. If you want to change, you can go to density visualization, and then, but before that, let's go back to overlay. So here you can decrease or increase the scale. Okay, in terms of how do you want to see the visualization? So make it smaller or bigger. And then the weights in terms of links or total link strength. All these terminologies are in the manual, so I don't want to talk about it. And then also size variation in terms of how large the circles are. Okay, so if you don't like circles, you can change them to frames, but this one doesn't look nice. So maybe circles is better. The maximum length, maybe we can make it 40. Let's see if there's any difference. No, you can change the font style, maybe sans serif. Yeah, and then overlay colors, you can, yeah. So this is not what I want to do. For now, it's just the artist and then the years. So I want to change it to, let's say, the key, or let's say the keywords, something like that. So filter or analysis, which one? Today is just like I'm forgetting it. Okay, no, not here. It's a long time I used it. Wait, it should be items. Okay. Analysis. I know there's a way to change it too. I've just forgot. Okay, yeah, it's just to change the colors again. Wait. Okay, let me pause. Okay, so I can't find what I'm looking for, but let's try another file. Another file. Okay, so we go back to um Web of Science. I don't know why Web of Science is failing. Okay, let me just use a few of them. Okay, so let me export in RIS format, hopefully. And then I'll do, let's say 1 to 500. Hopefully it should load fast. And then title, author, source, abstract. I think, yeah, this should work. Okay, let me put as many as possible so that save, export. All right, so is someone doing it with me or I'm doing it alone? Okay, so for some reason, I don't know why the Web of Science is not working, but it does work for the main daily. It should work for Web of Science. I don't know why today it's not working, but I think we can all try it and then see if it works for us also. Any questions on this? Any questions on how to use Viewer as Viewer? Do I repeat? Do I need to repeat it? If yes, please let me know. I'll quickly run through it and then we go over again. Repeat. Okay. So first of all, we download Viewer as Viewer from here. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. viewersviewer.com download. Okay, so download whichever package works for you, whether it's Oh, okay, okay. So now my screen is showing. All right. So download from here. You can choose Windows, Mac OS, or any other system. Once you download it, you can just extract the file. For me, it's Windows, so it's .exe. So when you open, you just launch this particular application, viewers.viewer.exe, and then you have that. Okay. So you get an interface like this at the beginning. Okay, so let me close everything. Okay. So viewers, viewer, extract. Once you extract, okay, replace everything. Okay, so I launch it like this. It takes a while. I hope up to this part is clear. Do we all have this screen up to this part? Hello.
Ah, there is a-
Come again. Do you have up to this part? Have we all installed? Or you watch it later and then do it? Okay, so hopefully we all have this one. And for those who don't have, maybe you can watch the video later. Okay, so you always go to create. Um, if it's new, but if you already have one, you go to open. Okay, so I'm going to create a new one. So you have three options basically to choose to create a map from a network data, which we don't have that. So you usually may use the second or third option. Okay, so from the second option, it means that you have the data from mostly things like Web of Science, Scopus, and others. Okay, and then the last option is also in the form of a text data. So like .txt. All right. So usually you should use the second one. So I'll go to next. Now in the second one, you can use some APIs that support viewers viewer to connect from Semantic Scholar or other ones as shown here. Or if you have the supported file from Web of Science, that is if you did your search like this, maybe you have a search like this and you have some particular results, then you can export in the compatible format, either RIS or Excel or TXT. And then you now import it here. That's the second option. And then the third option also is coming from a reference manager, like let's say Mendeley, you have your own database here, or you have your own list of references. So for me, I have 4,000, right? So how do we export it? In Mendeley, you just click here. First is like this. So you just click on the top. That means you have selected or you select the number of references that you need. And then you export. So how do I export it? The options are here, either big text or RIS. In this case, RIS works. So let's export in terms of RIS and call it new, maybe new.rx, or you can save it anyway. And at any location also, in this case, it's on my desktop. So I've saved it. And then I go back to view as viewer using that, say, the third option. I go to next. So now I'll look for RIS. If it's from EndNote, you use EndNote. If it's from RefWorks, you use RefWorks. So RIS file is what I have. I'll look for that particular data on my desktop, which is new. And then I click OK. Once it's here and it's confirmed, then I can go to next. And then here, yeah, this is why I skipped. So you can do the analysis in terms of artists, which is what we did before. You can do it in terms of occurrence. You can do it in terms of the counting. There are two types, the full counting and fractional, but default is okay, like this. And then you can also have some thesaurus file, which is not what I want to talk about today. So let's keep it here like this as co-occurrence and then keywords. Okay, for now. So next. Minimum number of occurrence of a keyword. So it's saying that currently there are 1,060, 1,654 keywords and 52 meet the threshold. So if the keyword occurs at least 5 times, it will show it on the chart. So let me reduce it a bit so that, but if you also make it too much, then it will look too messy. So let me increase it a bit. So let's say if the keyword occurs 20 times within all the 4,000 papers, then it will show it. And it says 3 meet the, the threshold. So this is not what I want, right? So at least I should show as many as possible. Okay, maybe this is okay. 4, what do you guys think? 4 is okay. So next, and then number of keywords selected is 77, right? Yeah. Okay, so these are the keywords that are from all the papers that satisfy at least they show 4 times, right? Then finish. You want to show the connection. Some usually don't connect with each other. So I just want to show the ones that are showing the connection. Okay, next. Okay, so this is my kind of snapshot of my literature. Let's say I've read all my papers and I'm sure that the papers that I have now, the 4,000, can cover my thesis, can cover my proposal, right? So from here, I can see that the bigger circles show that it's more like frequent. So here you can see flame retardant it's the largest, maybe. Flame retardance is also another thing. And then flame retardant also again. So the one with an S and without an S. Okay, yeah, so other terms are also there. And then I can now kind of have a brief overview of what keywords to put on my paper, right? So the top 5 keywords, I can say flame retardant, flame retardancy, and maybe blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is using network visualization. I can just change it to overlay. So the difference is, if you can see immediately, you see overlay gives you the years, okay, and density gives you this kind of thing, which I don't usually like. But you can also kind of change the colors and play around with it. And then how do you can share and you can save. Okay, so save it as a, wait, screenshot. Yeah, so you save the screenshots of the page, but here it doesn't look nice. So let's see if we can make it look a little bit nicer. Just playing around with it. Okay, no, it's getting more ugly. Okay, so we can change the colors. Import color. No, no. Okay, so I'll not prefer this one unless you really want to. Overlay is okay. I think overlay looks beautiful. And you can change the font style and font size, right? And then maybe increase the words a bit. Any questions? You can give it a black background if you want to, and all that. Any questions? Any questions? Today, Dr. K is not here to be reading the questions for me. If anyone will volunteer, I'll be very happy in the chat box. Any questions so far? No questions. All is clear. Oh, we've used 40 minutes on this. Any question? Oh, yes. No, at least some feedback so I know where I am standing. And then I can move on. This is not the main work for today. It's just by the way, because you don't have access to research assistant. That's why I'm trying to use this to help give you some mappings. And this can always be your figure 2 or figure 1 in your reference and literature review. Questions? Okay, no questions, I assume. All right, so I'll just run quickly over again, just in case you didn't hear me. And then I think that should sink in. Okay, so you go to create, choose the second option, which is from bibliographic data. Then you go to next. The first option, not really important. You can use the second or third option, right? The second meaning that you went to Web of Science and then you exported the information from there. Okay, but The third option, which is what most of us should usually do, is you have your reference manager and you've read a thing and you have the paper downloaded, just like here. And here we selected 4,000, right? And then we now go to next. In RIS format, in EndNote format, reference format, okay, any of them will work. So if it's RIS, you just look for it wherever it's saved, next. Here, there are two types of, you want to show the authors. So for example, you want to know who is the leading author for that particular field, right? You are new in the field. Or if keywords, I think is better because maybe you want to do some further literature search. And then, yes, you go to next. And here it's just you benchmarking as many words as possible. So the more, okay, let me give you more words. Two. If it appears at least 2 times, then it should come. Next. Okay, next. And these are the, if you can check from here, if you still don't want some of the keywords, you can just click it like this and remove it from it. Maybe you feel it's not necessary, but it's in the papers, right? And these keywords are all keywords from the papers you've uploaded, right? So next, yes. Okay, so it's showing more words because I gave it more, so I can see pyrolysis, thermochemistry, blah, blah, blah. And then you can play around with it in which format you want to do it. On the right-hand side, if you want to save, you go to share, or sorry, screenshot, save. Save it as a PNG. Okay, so let me say this for those who don't know. Or let me ask first, which of the formats here should I save my figure? I know there are different options, but if you want to publish a paper, if you want to, right, get high quality pictures for your work, which of them would you want us to go for? Anyone? This one I need feedback because maybe you don't know. So say your answer, maybe it's right or maybe it's wrong. So we learn from here. There's EPS, there's GIF, there's JPG, sorry, PDF, PNG, SVG, SWF, .tiff. Which of these will give me a highest, how do you even call that thing? Please, please, answers, please. I don't want to give the answer. I want to find out first before I give the answer because I've been talking for 40 minutes. I'm not hearing from anybody. I don't even know if my network is working. So I need an answer, please. Hello.
I'll say PMG.
PNG, very popular, but it's wrong. Would you want to try again? PNG is okay, but when you start moving it from one place to another, it distorts the file. Okay, so just to save time and people don't want to talk today, it's fine. You save it in .tiff.
I'll go for TIFF.
Yes, TIFF is the best. It's the best for academic research. Always try and save it in TIFF. If you don't have that option, then maybe you can save it in PNG. Okay, so TIF, most journals are happy with you when they see that. Do not come back to you after the paper has been accepted and ask you for high quality images. Okay, save it in TIFF. So I'll save it in TIFF and call it people. Today I will be very sarcastic. People are not mining me. So that's the name of my file. I'm not mining it today. Okay, .tiff, and I save it beautifully on my desktop. So if I go to my desktop, I should find today people are not mining me. Okay, and it's fine, no problem. This is very beautiful. Is it not beautiful?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. Thank you very much for the feedback. So this is, you can do this. If you don't have any figure at all in your work, please, at least just do this and put in figure one, okay? If you don't have any figure in your paper, you don't have any figure at all, okay? And you can try and explain 1 or 2 paragraphs concerning this figure to show the direction of the field. Imagining that you've actually covered a lot of literature, okay, concerning the field. All right. I'll give 1 minute for question. I just hope someone can ask me a question on this. But if not, I'll move on to the business of the day. 1 minute for question. Yeah, we've ended viewers viewer. Any question on viewers? Okay, today is the
Hello.
hello. Yes.
Sorry, I'm Emmanuel. Maybe
Mm,
I joined late.
mm.
I can't stop you for continue, but before closing the session, maybe you can repeat even what is the purpose of we do VOS view.
Okay. Repeating may take a while, but let me just give you the purpose of viewers. I'm not closing the entire session. It's just this part of the session I'm closing and to move on to something else. So viewer, you've read a lot of papers, right? Let's say you have 100 papers, you have 200 papers, but you don't know where the field is going, actually. You don't know, you are new to the field, right? Or secondly, you just don't know what are the good keywords that can describe the field, okay? Or a third reason why you may want to do viewer is just because you just want a beautiful image in your paper, right? Yes, so you can show the trends in terms of the artists, the fields, and sometimes the keywords. In Web of Science, this is just a click, okay? If you go to Web of Science and you do, you find okay, sorry, you can't see my screen. Let me share my screen. If you use the Web of Science option, it's just a click and you can do all the analyzing of results. So if you can see my screen, once I have a search and I just go to analyze results, okay, I can get immediately the results in terms of research area. I can change it in terms of document type. I can change it in terms of author, database, research area, and all that. Okay, so this is something that we can do in Web of Science. But if you don't have access to Web of Science and you just have your papers, we are just giving you another option to view what is going on in the literature. I don't know if that answers your question.
It's okay, I understand. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so we don't have research assistants and we don't have Web of Science. So the question came to me during the week that I mentioned earlier in our first session that once you have questions, you should bring them back to Web of Science or Mendeley, your research questions, I mean, and then find it. But you realize that when you put a research question in Web of Science, Mendeley, it gives you nothing, right? For those who have tried it, they know it gives you nothing. So we have to break the question down back into keywords. Okay, so let me share my whiteboard and then I'll explain a little bit. Okay, so I'm sharing my whiteboard, hopefully showing. So let's say my research question 1 is, what are the advantages of using machine learning in regulating traffic systems? Okay. So if I copy this particular question and I put it into, let's say, Web of Science. Okay, so copy, and then I go back, stop sharing and share again. I go back to my Web of Science. It's very likely I may not find anything because first of all, it's too long and that's not what Web of Science is known for. Okay, so yes, no records were found to match your filter. It doesn't mean that this particular question it's not useful. It just means that it's not suited for Web of Science. If you try it in Mendeley, also the same. So what we have to do is kind of break the question down into keywords. So what can I do? I can say advantages. I can say machine learning. 2 or 3 words, it's okay. And I can say that traffic systems. So you play around with the topic, okay? So now instead of this topic, I'll have advantages and then, yes, something like this. Let's see if we'll get something. Yeah, and then you get something from, so you try and look through the references that it's giving you and see if it really tailors to the question that you have. But if you do the keyword breaking down well, because the advantages must be in the topic, machine learning must be in the topic, and traffic systems must also be in the topic. So it will give you something that is close to what you want. So if you have your questions, you cannot directly find them in Web of Science, unless you use Research Assistant, which most of us on the call don't have. So you can use keywords approach in Web of Science, keywords approach in Mendeley, and all the other ones, Scopus and others. So I think that answers that part of the question that came to me. I should have talked about it, but it skipped me. Any questions on this one? Do I have to demonstrate this further? Does someone have a research question they want to share? And then I can demonstrate it also. If not, then I go to the next part of the session. Today we are running a bit fast so that we can close early. Questions? Or is it because it's cold today, people don't want to talk? Questions, please. If it's clear also, just tell me it's clear, then we save time, okay? Let's not waste time. All right, so this part is clear. Now let's go back. From here, I'm not sharing any other screen again. I'll stay on my whiteboard till we are done, unless someone has a very specific question. So back to the whiteboard, where I can write everything I want to say. Let me delete everything on the whiteboard. Okay, so we are running through the whole proposal again. We have the topic. Oh no, let me type. Typing is nice. Okay, so we have the topic, which by this time everyone has a topic. If you don't have a topic, please try and get a topic. From the topic, we got our keywords. If somebody will also be whispering what I should write, I'll be very happy. Keywords, we have our research gaps approach. We have our, oh, nobody is talking. No one is talking and I'm sad. See that they didn't understand me in the beginning. Or there's something wrong. What else can I do? Okay, I'll speak to myself today. Questions, we can use
Objectives.
Objectives, good, which will come at the top. The focus, we have the focus or scope that can tailor our research. Objectives all fall under this. Good. So we've done everything here. And then now we have our what? The next stage is from the research questions, we can find what? We can find our theoretical foundation questions, kind of, if there's a name like that. But the questions that really give us the theory about the work or the mass of the literature concerning the work. And then we have the novelty, right? The novelty questions. Good. And of course, you have to tell us some of the initial challenges, which could also be related to the research gaps, initial challenges that people have faced, not you. Initial challenges, not you. Let me write it this way. The initial challenges from literature, not you. So people have tried to do the work, and then you tell us the initial challenges. Then now you tell us how you want to solve it. Okay, so you are highlighting the research gap from the challenges, and then you tell us among the problems you have seen or the gaps you have seen, which of these can you solve and how? Okay, here I call it the dreaming stage. You can dream, okay? You feel that you can do everything in the world to solve the problem. Why did anyone not see the problem? So you can dream, you can tell us, what do you want to do? So here it's like proposed kind of solutions, right? You are proposing, whether you achieve it or not, we'll see. So proposed solutions, yes, so you give a few of the proposed solutions or how you think you can solve the problem, right? After you scan the literature and everything, now you can write your literature review somewhere here. Let me put it here. So your literature review, you already have the format, right? Your question 1 becomes your group 1 becomes your 2.1. Your group 2 becomes your 2.2. Then you go to 2.4 and 2.5, which gives you actually talking about the novelty. And at this part, you have to be the bad guy. You expose or you try to cripple some people's work just to show that, yes, you have novelty. Okay, you show your novelty. And of course, that connects clearly to your dreaming stage. Okay, so you believe that you can. Okay, yes, so this is like a closed loop. Let me make it a very, yes, this is. Oh, so today to somebody is not happy with me. That's just a joke. Anyway, so I'm sharing back my screen. My network just vanished for a few minutes. I hope I've not lost everything I was writing. Oh, and unfortunately I have. Okay, so I ended at the closed loop where you have the initial challenges faced, your dreaming state, which is your proposed solutions, and then that whole loop of novelty. Okay, so we are done with literature review. Now, questions came from chapter 1. The answers came from chapter 2. However, not all the answers we found, right? So the novelty is what we are trying to solve. So that gives us the methodology. How do you want to solve the unsolved questions? Yeah, I think that should be the word. So methodology is just telling us, how do you hope to solve the questions or the novelty questions, basically, right? Or and try to confirm also the answers that were from the theoretical foundation. So how do you expect to solve this? First of all, you can tell us some theories that found your work. Okay, so the basic theories that found your work, you can show us, talk about it. You can tell us about some models that are existing. If you want to extend the models, you tell us. If also you are creating a new model, you tell us. Are you collecting some data? You tell us. Okay, basically, this is how most of us do the work. And of course, in collecting data, it can be experiments, it can be service, however we collect data, okay? And of course, in explaining the theories, highlight more on some equations, okay? If I read a paper and I don't see an equation, I really doubt it. No matter the field, even if it's social science, okay? Everything has some equation back in it. Even if you don't understand the equation, just try and find some equation that relates to the work, okay? So business guys, regression analysis, if I don't see anything like an equation in your paper, then you are not really doing regression analysis, okay? We must see something like an equation or some pseudocode for the computer scientist, or some algorithm. These things are basic. They are already there. Just look for someone paper and then modify it and then also make it beautiful. Okay. If you can't show it in an equation form, you can show it in a figure form, trying to explain the whole framework. Okay. So the figure that shows the framework. Okay. And maybe it's a framework. For the other people, they'll say it's a flow chart, right? So flow chart. The flowchart could be as basic as how you actually did the research. So like your literature search map, how did you do the research, right? Or how did you find the literature search map? And how did you execute the task? Okay, kind of like a timetable thing. You want to see it, or timeline, or the sequence of events. Okay, so if you are in the lab, I take 10 milligrams of sodium carbonate diluted in, let's say, this part concentration of an acid. Okay, just put it in a very nice way. Don't put it in text. You've written too much text in chapter 2. At least let's see some charts, let's see some diagrams, let's see some tables. Okay, so let me not forget about tables. Tables is also very, very good. Tables also very good. Okay, so you have this in your methodology, and then here, let me say please. Please, 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 please. Little or no references, please. Here, as much as possible, little or no references. And I'm putting so many, because it's very important, okay? Little or no references. If you reference, then you are referencing a theory or a certain model. It's not like I come to tell us something about literature. We've read about the literature so much. So here, methodology, if you are referencing, maybe use a software, yes, you can tell me you use SPSS, data, and all those things, right? Then you can reference it. But aside that, there's no need to give us some literature background on the work. Again, we've had enough in literature, right? So methodology, little or no references, more tables, more figures, more equations, more complex looking stuff. Okay, so someone will feel that you are doing something. Okay, and all these things have been done by someone, except, of course, you are developing a new model, which would surely have some theoretical foundation in the literature, right? So here you talk about that in methodology. What else do you tell us in methodology? I think that's done. There's nothing more to say. Depending on your field, this is basically what it is. And there are so many people on the call. I cannot talk about every field, but I think I've covered a little bit of everyone here. If you are doing data analysis, how I go to get the data, how I go to process the data, how blah, blah, blah. If you are doing experiments, what are your controls? Okay, what's your population sample? What's the procedure? What's the framework? Things like that, right? So basically, methodology is the only part that Mr. Bruce cannot help you. And this is the part that you should spend over 70% of your time as a researcher or as a student trying to learn. In your first year, you may have classes, but this is what you should be delving into. What does your supervisor do? What does your lab do? What are you supposed to do? Okay, so you're a business student, you cannot use data, you cannot use Python, you cannot use R, you cannot use eViews, you cannot use the popular softwares, MATLAB, Excel. Try to learn it. Try to learn it. Don't wait till your second or third year and when you are asked, what I go to do? You say, I don't know. I'm just going to collect data. Yes, you collect the data, but how do you further analyze the data? So one doctor or one professor advised me before I started my PhD, he told me, your first year, follow your supervisor like a dog. Yeah, it sounds very weird, but it paid off. Follow him, whatever he says, whatever he does. If you mention a word you don't know, just write it down, go and Google it. Okay, learn the field. And the only thing you can learn the field is not about literature. Don't go learning or reading papers you don't understand. Just find out what the techniques are. What things you have in the lab. Sometimes some of the problems may come up that you get a very good methodology in your reading, but you realize your lab or the funding cannot support it, then you are stuck. You now have to rethink of how to. So maybe I should write research design somewhere. Methodology also involves the research design. So how am I going to do the whole research? It's like project management, kind of. So every research is like a project. So how will you manage your project in terms of timelines, in terms of personnel, in terms of resources, in terms of what do I have now? What should I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to contact? Should I collaborate? All these things should come in your methodology. And as a researcher, the more you are able to do this with as many contingency plans as possible, the better for you in executing your research. Any questions here? I'm not having a lot to say. Unless there's a specific field you want us to discuss, then of course I can go deeper into that. But methodology, it ends here. Any question? Silence again. Wow. Okay, so methodology is set. I think maybe it's not difficult for anyone on the call, so that's good to know. We move on to results, okay? So after you did all the things you proposed that you do or how you solve them, you went through the whole methodology. Now, the question is, what results did you get? What results did you get, right? So I'm cleaning this. Okay, so in some field, results is different from discussion. In some field, it's together. So let me just assume it's not together. I just want to talk about, or it's together. Any of them works. You just have to split it according to which field you are from. So it's results and discussion, or it's results and then discussion. So it's up to you. Okay, so results and discussion. The first thing you have to do with your results is to present them as clearly as possible. Very nice charts. Present them clearly as possible. And of course, very logical. Don't show 2 before 1. 1 must come before 2, okay? And if you are going descending order, then of course, 2, 3, 2, 1 is okay. It should be clear as possible. And this is why I advise at least know one image processing tool or know one way of showing images. If you cannot show images at all, PPT is there, PowerPoint, it starts from there. But I'm sure whatever field you are in, there are some certain softwares that are there for showing the results clearly. It could be in tables, it could be in charts, right? Or figures, figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. All right. Now, when you present them clearly, here you have to be very honest. Okay, so you say that my best results, okay, and then these are my worst results, or let me say bad results. I'm not saying bad, but it's bad. Or comparatively, it's not good. No, let me not say bad. Not good results. I don't want to say bad because every data point is important. Okay, even if it's an outlier. Not good, not so good results. Okay, tell us, don't hide the bad ones, please. Don't delete them, please. That's not genuine research. And because your result does not match your question, you try and now manipulate, please, also not very good. Okay, so sure, tell us your best results. Okay, that means compare your results. Maybe if you have more than one technique you are using, compare the results. And this is your results, right? Then now you take your best results, and compare it with others versus others in literature, okay? So this one is like a competition. You versus others, and you versus you. So the first one is you versus you, and the second one is you versus others. Okay? Compare. You can use a table, you can use paragraphs to explain. Similar. Sometimes you may not have similar results, so you have to find something in their results you can compare with, right? It's not always that you can compare. It's not easy. If you can't find a literature, perhaps there is some benchmark data, right? Primary data, secondary data, people, are you here? Benchmark data, right? Or let's say some database that is existing or some kind of credible source, right, that we can kind of compare with. Okay, you can compare your best results with them and say that, yes, they got an accuracy of 70%. Now I'm getting 70.001. That 0.001 increase is better. Okay, no matter how small it is, we are moving in the right direction, right? So no matter how bad your results may be, try and compare with somebody. So if you see that there's somebody higher than you, you go for the lower one and compare with them just to look nice, okay? But your best results versus others in literature. Then now you come to, why did I get bad results? No, I said I will not use the word bad. Not good results. Why? Sometimes you don't know, right? So you can try and give excuses, but try and explain why. So you can say that, oh, okay, maybe the day I did the experiment, it was rainy and all these possible conditions. And the best way you can do this is if you know your literature in terms of what methods or theory. If you have a very good theoretical foundation, you can explain everything. So let me see the theory. Your theory must be very good. If you don't have good theory, you cannot explain some off results, or let me say outliers, or let's say surprises. Let me put it this way. Sometimes we get surprises in data and it's very difficult to explain. Even professors cannot explain it. Because if your theoretical foundation is not so good, you don't even know what to say. Your explanation may not be the right explanation, but it sounds plausible or it sounds reasonable. And people in literature may also come from different aspects to say, oh yes, we think it's true, or maybe no, you are wrong. And then we all learn from it, right? So anytime you have not so good results, don't hide it, show it. But it's a skill of showing it. And if you have the skill of the theoretical foundation in the field, then you can explain it very well and look so nice. But if you don't, then you'll be doing things that will cause your paper to be rejected because you didn't discuss the work well. All right. Then now, the last part, you tell us if your hypothesis, okay, your hypothesis, your questions, and your dreaming stage. Did you achieve all? Did you achieve all of them? Dreaming stage, proposed solutions, right? Did you answer the hypothesis, or did you answer the questions? And the dreaming stage, did you fulfill all? You tell us, were they answered? Were they not answered? And what was the answer? Was it in support or contrary? Okay, so if let's say you said that all Chinese men are from the south are tall, and you realize that after all your data, it says that the Chinese men are actually short, then you can say, oh yes, my hypothesis was wrong. Therefore, in further study, we'll further refine it. Or this is the answer to the question. This is the real answer, not what I said. So here you tell us your hypothesis, the questions, and the dreaming stage solutions that you propose. Were you able to fulfill all? If you didn't fulfill all, then you tell us what were your challenges. Now, this is the second type of challenge, not the first one. The first one was initial challenge from literature. This is your challenges, your personal problems, your personal problems, okay? And funding is overrated. So please don't write, we didn't have money or there was not enough time. People have written it so many times. So try and find some challenges that actually were challenges, technical challenges, and all that. You couldn't solve it. You couldn't solve it. You tell us, and that's maybe perhaps the reason why you got even bad results. So this is results and discussion. And then of course you summarize. You summarize your results beautifully. And you are done with results and discussion. Results and discussion is as simple as this. Present your results. If you have some good analytical tools, explaining the data becomes very easy, and visual. The visual is always important. I'm not against anyone, but if you are from China and you write so much text, you will not get a good review. Someone said it's like you have to write a Cinderella story. One text, every page, one text, one figure, one text, one figure, one text, one figure. Like every page must have a figure or table as much as possible. And trust me, okay, so this one is also just a conversation I had with a colleague who says that they believe as Chinese that the only way they are able to get into the big journals like Nature and all that is because they produce very good pictures. So supervisors are really keen on pictures, tables, formatting. You see, they'll not even read the work. Do not read the work. The only thing they are keen, hey, the full stop is not, yes, because they believe that once that is done, it gives the reviewer or whoever is taking the thing serious, okay? And they feel that you have also taken the work serious because you spend a lot of time into formatting, and it's very important. So at the end of the day, at least you get through the DEX rejection and you're able to enter into the review stage. And of course, that's where you see the last income of your content. Okay, then now it comes to the content stage. But if you don't present it very well, even you can have very good content, but you don't get the results that you want. So please, business students, I know you don't like pictures, but please, as much as possible, put it in tables, not so many text. Tables, figures, tables, figures, tables, figures. It will save you a lot of heartbreaks. Table and figures here, or even right from introduction. Table and figures. If it's your thesis, you can copy some beautiful pictures that you saw in literature and put it inside. But if it's your paper, like a published paper, then it's better you redraw with permission or find another way around it. So every time you write a thesis or proposal, go through, if you see more than, let me say, 5 paragraphs and there's no table, remember Mr. Bruce is watching you. If you go paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5, and you don't find table or something that breaks the paragraphs, then you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Because here, it's not their, English is not their first language. So please, make the reviewer like you. Even for nothing at all, they will review your work based on the pictures and give you high score than you put in all the good work and then you cannot get what you want. Okay, so there's a question. In writing your methodology for a research, do you use past tense or future tense or the present tense, which is recommended? Okay, so this one takes me back to undergrad. Okay, so methodology depends on the situation. Okay, so before I address that, we all know the I versus we rule. In research, even though you did the work yourself, you don't use I, you use we. Okay, so we established the fact that in methodology, you can put it in past tense because, okay, you can put it in past tense for sessions like an experiment. Okay, so present tense is okay, past tense is okay, future tense is okay. It depends on the context. But what are you going to do is what you are proposing. So you can't tell us that we have done. Okay, we are now going to do the work. So the methodology should most likely be in future tense, or we aim to, or we will. So present, future is better. Past tense is better for results. We established the fact that we did this. We emphasized that, we discovered that is past tense better for results and discussion. Present and future tense, just keep a consistency. Don't mix them for methodology. I think it's better. And then also in literature, I've seen people use present tense, I've seen people use also past tense. So it's up to you. It's up to you, and of course, what your supervisor wants. I think I've answered that question. Any question on methodology, results, and discussion? If not, I'll move on to the last part. There's another question. Let me check. Can we blend both third person of writing and personalized writing? This question, I watched a YouTube video of a professor in South Korea addressing this particular thing. I think it's based on journal to journal, okay? So for some journals, they don't mind, okay? But as much as possible, let's not use personalized. Let's not use personalized. I don't know for you, but for me, every time I'm done, the last question I ask my supervisor is there any other person I need to add to the list of the authors? Because there's always somebody who will be gifted some authorship. Okay, so even if it's only you, let's not make it personalized. Let's all make it like the third person. I think it gives that sense of you are a good researcher, you can collaborate with people instead of even though the reality is you did all the work by yourself and it should be personalized. But let's all give that community feeling that you did it with someone, you collaborated with someone. And then, of course, unless you are the only person on the other list, then maybe you can use personalized, but it's not encouraged. It looks like you're a selfish researcher, but yeah, I don't know why. So if you did the work by yourself, I did it myself, but it's not encouraged that way. Okay, so I think there are no questions. We'll move on to conclusion. So I'll clear my screen again. So before conclusion, for some fields, they have what we call recommendation. So I don't know if I should merge conclusion and recommendation, or recommendation is separate. Depends on your field, okay? So ideally, recommendation should come before or after, depends on your field, okay? Like policy people, recommendation, all that, okay? So recommendation, if it will come before conclusion, this is how it will look like. So after you've told us everything, you summarize the results, you believe that in further study, we will do that. So you are talking about further study, right? Further study, how you want to approach the work. Further study should do this. And I encourage everyone on this call, even if you know you will not do the further study by yourself, please write it. It gives the impression that you want to continue the work. So one tip I'll give everybody on the call, I think I've mentioned it before. If you're a master's student and you are having your proposal defense, your final defense, in your further study, you say that in my PhD, I hope to further analyze this. Even in your heart, you know that after master's, I'm gone. I have nothing to do with PhD. Just say it, okay? It gives that feeling that you have some continuity of the research. If you're a PhD student, say that in my postdoc, I hope to answer these questions further, or further explore these outliers or why this appeared. Of course, if you're a postdoc, I don't know what you want to say, if you're a professor or something, right? But always try and give that continuity. It's very important. Further studies should show or should investigate this. It's very important. And then also, limitations. Here we have to be very careful because some reviewers are just wicked. They will turn your limitations against you. They'll tell you, if you know the limitations, then fix it before bringing the paper. Okay, so let's say that I did the experiment and I covered 3 points, okay? And let's say the 4th point I couldn't cover it just for some reason. They'll tell you, no, go and do that 4th point before you come. But you mentioned it as a limitation, and of course, you want to do it in further study. So here you have to be a little bit smart about it, else it will be turned against you. But tell us the limitations of the work so far, what you saw from literature, what you saw by yourself, and what you think other people can do, of course, in further study. And then policy recommendation, yeah, business students, always recommending policies. The day we execute all of them, then this world will be a better place. So if there's some policy recommendation or there's some governance, something that must be done, you can tell us. It's very important. And then also, did you have some ethical considerations and how did it impact your work? I think I didn't mention this earlier, but it should be in the methodology. Ethical considerations, what did you consider? Maybe you wanted to do a study on the effects of pork, right? On the performance of sportsmen, right? But you are doing this study, let's say Saudi Arabia. This will be a very sensitive topic. So you have to consider where you are and how to go around it. Even asking a question may be so sensitive, right? So from all that you got, were there any ethical considerations that really hampered the progress of the work? You have to tell us. Again, of conclusion. Conclusion is a summary of all summaries, but not like abstract. So let me explain what I'm saying. So summary of your introduction, you had one, if you remember, or if you look in the format of the Word document I gave. There was a summary of the introduction. There was a summary of the literature or related works. There was a summary of the methodology. And there was a summary of the results, right? And maybe a summary of the discussion. So it's a summary of all summaries. That's the conclusion. And you put it in points. Okay, so after everything, point 1, we found out that Chinese people can be short or tall. The novelty, second point. So if you can bullet your conclusion point, very clear for anyone who is reading it, especially for reviewers of theses and papers. Do not read the whole work, they just go to conclusion. Okay, the novelty of this study classifies, so as much as possible, 1 point from all the summaries from your introduction literature classifies Chinese efficiently, okay, or something, effectively, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 4 is okay. Maybe 5 if it's a PhD. Yeah. So the conclusions of your study should be dealing. Okay. So I'll outline, right? In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and then you are good to go. That ends it. Also, you can look at references, which, of course, depending on which format you are using, or there's APA, whatever. And if you are in China, check out for this particular guy, GB77, if I remember it well. Okay, let me quickly check it. I know a lot of people have graduated without knowing this, but you just miss it because you are lucky. But if you are in China, your thesis should be in the format of this. Chinese referencing style. The code always keeps changing, so I think the latest one was 20. Yeah, this one. This one is not the latest one. This is, yeah, I think 2015. Yeah. Depends on how strict your college is. Where do I post it? In the chat, or okay, let me put it in the chat. Okay, so you can check this out, or I think 2015 also. Let me put it in the chat. Okay, 2015. It's in Mendeley, it's in Zotero. I've not checked for EndNote. So you just go to Mendeley, your Word file, go to Mendeley. Where's Mendeley? Okay, references. Okay, a moment. Okay. Oops. Okay, my Mendeley is loading. Zotero also has it. I think EndNote should also have. So if you are using APA, it's good, but please keep this format. It's better, especially if you are in China. Unless you are not in China, then don't worry about it. But if you are writing a thesis in China, you should use this formatting. It's advisable, even if your supervisor does not know. I think he should know, unless he also didn't graduate from China. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen again. Kindly confirm if you see my screen. So you go to citation settings. Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen? Okay, today, dear, no one is talking to me.
Yes, I can
Yes,
see.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Please, what do you see?
A Word document.
Okay, thank you very much.
Blank page.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm,
All right. So you
it's
go to
blank
citation.
page.
Come again.
We see blank page.
Blank page, yes, good, good. All right, yes, it's the blank page I wanted to see. So we go to citation settings. If you are using Mendeley, you use Mendeley cite. Here it's default APA, right? You go to change style, change citation style, and then you can search for another style. Okay, we are searching for the Chinese one. So hopefully it should pop up. I think it's GB. What was the thing I posted in the chat? GB77. Can someone help me? Or let me see if I still have it. Yeah. So this one, you just click. I think numeric works. No, this is the old one. Not, I don't want 2005. I want 2015. So the 2015 has 3. Yeah. So you choose numeric. Okay. And that's it. So if you are writing a thesis, please use this one. Okay. Unless you've been instructed otherwise. This is better if you're in China and you don't have problem with referencing. You have to go and change it later on. So I'm ending my session here. I hope we've all learned something about how to write a research proposal. For those of you trying to apply for the next stage of your life, I hope this works for you. For those of us who this is your dream, I hope it also works for you. All right. Oh, for those laughing at me also, I'm not happy. Anyway, any questions? Now I'll give 10 minutes for questions because I've completed in 3 parts. At least I should get not less than 10 questions. Questions, questions, questions. I'm done talking. Oh, my whiteboard, I lost it because I lost connection. But I think it will be in the video. All right. Questions, questions or research proposal. Don't wait to text me tomorrow, please. Ask me now. Ask me now, please. Don't come to my inbox if it can be asked here. It's very important. Not that I don't want to answer you, but your question can also help someone. So please, let's just share. I've talked about it this last on Thursday. Let's share. Share your research, share your thoughts, share your doubts. That's why we are here. I am sharing. So if you don't share, it's cheating. It's cheating. So share your thoughts. If you want me to stop recording so you can feel free, I will stop recording so that you can share. Yes, Malan, go ahead. So Malan, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. So there's this thing about this, well, kind of the thought of research proposal. Now, as a proposal by the name, if it's anything to go by, it's supposed to, isn't it supposed to be, okay, it's something that you propose doing, but here we've gone through and you're expected to have done the results. You expect to have some results to show. How is that different from like writing a paper? Is it maybe, are they synonymous, or it's the word proposal doesn't really mean what it is, but it's actually maybe like a paper, or like what's, no, that's confusion. Can you clear it up for me a little? Thank you.
Okay. So you could do the proposal writing for different reasons, right? And let me try and cover the most how do you call it? The most popular ones. So like you said, yes, you are looking for funding. So you are proposing a project. You don't have results, okay? So a research proposal would not have so many results. Therefore, your introduction should be very solid, literature as convincing as possible, and a very strong looking methodology. This is where the bunch of the research proposal should focus on. Results and discussion, you just compare what is in literature, some results, and then you discuss those ones, and then you say that I have a better solution or I have a better methodology. Hence, I hope to achieve higher efficiencies, better results, and so on, right? That is you are trying to get money, or you're trying to get funding, or you're trying to get a school to take you. So 90% of the work will be introduction, literature, and methodology, and a few results which you are benchmarking from literature again. So there it's a proposal, right? If you've done the work, then it's not a proposal. It's no longer a proposal, although some people still call it a proposal. It changes to something else, like what you call a paper, a published paper, or a journal paper, an article, a thesis, a report, and all those things, right? So it will transform from a proposal to one of these. So in that case, you are not writing a proposal anymore. However, the format and the content is the same. It's just that now you have extra results, and now you can give discussion that is based on your results and not from literature again. Okay, so a thesis is like a proposal. Proposal plus results equals to thesis. Proposal plus results equals to a paper or an article. Proposal plus results equals to something. But then the core of the proposal, so what we all do as opening report is a research proposal. Opening report is a research proposal. Midterm review is a research proposal with some preliminary investigation results. Okay, so hopefully we know that you've tested the data, you've tested some theories, and you've gotten it. Then what we call the preliminary defense, or what some people call the qualification exam. At that stage, it's no longer a proposal. You should have some results and be telling us what are the challenges, how you are executing, or you are overcoming those challenges. And hopefully by the final thesis, you have everything in a complete form. So opening report, midterm report, they are all proposals. And for opening report, what we are looking out for is you have a topic that it's feasible, and how feasible it is on the core of the literature, right? And then your midterm, you've explored some novelty questions, and you have some preliminary results. And then the preliminary exam, or the qualification exam report, is that you have actually done 75% of the work. However, you have some challenges, or just because of time, you want to do this. That's why after that exam, if you're on CSE, you can extend 1 more year, because they believe that you have done much of the work, but maybe you just need more time, right? That's why they give that extra 1 year for PhD. Yes. So report, proposal, theory, introduction, literature is what should be there. It's the same for article, is the same for, and it's about the length. If it's a published paper, of course, you cannot write 70 pages, right? But the structure, I believe it's the same. It's the same. If you follow the template I've given you, you can just adapt it to anything, whether proposal, report, it's just where you want to send it to, and then you use it. And whatever data you have, then it differentiates whether it's a proposal or it's actually a thesis or a completed work. Okay, so there is no endnote.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Someone says there's no Chinese one in the endnote. I think for the endnote, you have to import. Okay, I'll send a link in the chat box, or maybe in our page. You have to import it's like a file. You download it, import it into your endnote, and then now you can use it. I think that's the only difference for endnote. But Zotero and Mendeley works good. But if you're on endnote, there's a caution. Okay, it's not so advisable, because once you leave that institution, you are in trouble. So why not go for the cheaper and open source? Okay, let's not box ourselves into, if you want to do, of course, unless maybe when you are done with research, that's it, you graduate, that's all. And that will also come to why we do the research. We do it because we want to graduate, or we do it for this particular reason. Yeah, but Zotero, Mendeley should be the option you should be going for instead of EndNote. Okay, there's another question. Is it necessary to do a thorough literature review in proposal writing? Yes, it is. It's very important, because that's the core. You are using it to convince people. You want to get 1 million RMB to improve your lab, and you come and tell me you have a solution, and you've not compared it with anybody in literature. The literature is the convincing part for a proposal. Methodology could look good, but if we are not convinced that it's possible because somebody have done something similar, then it's very difficult to get the funding. So the literature is, so like a proposal is just like a literature review, and it must be very thorough, but as practical as possible, where you are trying to benchmark it with other people's work, and then you have an idea, okay? It's just like you have an idea, you want to start a business, but you don't have money. You go to an investor and you say, oh, my idea is the best in the world. No, he may not give you that. So you have to convince him with some proof. And the proof is literature. In our field of study or in our academic setting, it's literature, not your idea. Idea can be gotten anywhere, including ChatGPT. So we don't want idea, we want the proof, which is literature. Is it necessary always to mention about the novelty? Okay, Mr. Simon. Okay, is there any Shanjarton person on this call? I think you can answer this question. I'm not attacking any school, but I think they are better to answer Mr. Simon's question. In some schools like Shanjarton, there's a committee specially for innovation. Else, if you don't pass their vetting, you will not graduate. Am I wrong or I'm right? Shanjarton people on the call, please, if I'm wrong, say no, you are wrong. Hello, anybody from Shanjarton? Nobody from Shanjarton. Okay, let me check the names. Now I have to check register. Oh, Abigail. Unfortunately, your name even shows you are from Shanjarton. Okay, Abigail maybe may not know. Yes, but innovation is very important. You need to brag about it. Your whole work should show us that you are novel. If not, then you are just like any other person. Novelty is very important. If you are not doing novelty, then you are not doing research. Theoretical foundation is already there. So why are you doing the research again? You cannot repeat theoretical foundation. It's waste of your time, waste of money. It has been done over and over again. So the only part of the work that we can believe you and give you the money is the novelty, innovation, significance, whatever. Groundbreaking research. This is the novelty. That's why I keep hammering on it. It's very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. And it should be a slide on your PPT. It must be there. It must be there. Expected achievements, there's a name they call it, scientific contribution, where it can be theoretical or practical contribution. This must be on your slide. It must be there. You never know, Mr. Bruce will join the panel one day and you'll be hot. Okay, so please, it must be there. It must be there. It must be there. 2 more questions, we end. Two more questions and we end. Questions, please. Is there any special reason why the class is quiet today? Maybe I need to ask that. If not, then I'll go back thinking about this whole session. Please allow me to sleep in peace today. Just tell me why the class is quiet. Okay, so I'll share my screen one more last time. And just to answer the question about EndNotes and Chinese style. So I'm sharing my screen. So I've shared the link also in the chat box. So if you go to that link, you see EndNotes, and then you download the style. Okay, it's there. It's there. Maybe it's not written the way I wrote it, but it's there. Okay, so this is the link, and you download the style. All right. One more question. I'm still waiting. We are all good to go on research proposal, thesis writing, paper writing, course, the same. Today, I promised to close early, and I'm doing that. 1 hour, 47 minutes. Questions, please. No questions also, someone can tell me if there are no questions. Last time I did not attend. Please, could you repeat in summary the points we need to write in introduction part of research proposal? Oh, that would take more than 10 minutes. So, Emmanuel, are you in the group, our WeChat group?
Not. I joined it because I invite you with my friend.
Who
I'm not in
invited you?
my friend, Mr. Simon.
Okay, Mr. Simon, please add him to the WeChat group so that he can get the template and the documents. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the template, I made a template for the introduction and all the parts and whatever I was saying, all is in the introduction in the template. So you can just quickly refer to that. Okay. It's well labeled and easy to follow. Okay. Because if I should do that, people on the call will get angry with me. I'm going beyond the time. Okay. Can you share it here, please? It's a large file, so I cannot share it here, unfortunately. No, I cannot share it. It's a large file. I cannot attach it here on Zoom. So videos, unfortunately, I don't want to stress myself of looking for other alternate solutions of sharing that. So WeChat is the last stop. If you want to help me in hosting it somewhere else, then that's always welcome. But at the moment, I don't want to share it here. Sorry, and it's large. It cannot support it. So get somebody who is on the WeChat page and they can share it with you later. Final words. Oh, the final words, then Princess, you should tell us if there are final words.
I was going to say final words of encouragement to anybody like struggling. I don't know why it cut off. So maybe some words of encouragement. You've been a starter before for beginners, so that we'll be encouraged. Because this is looking like a lot, but you make it sound easy, which we appreciate. But for beginners, like any words of advice or encouragement, would appreciate that.
Oh, those who know me know I'm not the kind of motivational speaker you're looking out for. I tell the truth the way it is. Unfortunately, I'm not the type who will tell you it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm doing the opposite of what you are looking for. It's not easy. I've broken it down.
Sweet.
Yeah, I've broken it down. I've just said the reality. But if you don't spend at least 6 months on your thesis, no, it's not good. No, it's not good. A good research, you did it in 3 months. Wow. Then I should hand over. The next session, you will be handling it. Yes, so it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes time. Someone was asking me how many papers I have. Okay. It's not about papers. It's about getting good research and publishing. Of course, there are some people who just publish anything and anything, right? But it will harm you in the end if you want to carve that particular profile. So it will take time for a beginner to understand the field. That one, it's what is most important to me. What do you do in the beginning? What do you do in the beginning? And if you do it very well, it takes time, but it will pay off. So there's a learning curve for everyone. So you can get a PhD student in his first year, no paper. Second year, no paper. Third year, maybe second semester, he gets a paper. And within 1 year, he publishes 4 papers before he can graduate. You ask that, how? Because he invested into what? The learning. The learning, it's a continuous process, but there's a point where you have to overcome that struggle of, I read a paper, I don't understand. Where do I go? I don't even know which paper is good. How do I get a topic? My supervisor is not helping me. There's a point you have to go through all these things. You must go through it. You must.
Okay.
You must. If you skip it, it will harm you. It's like mathematics. If you skip it at primary 1, you meet it in high school and it's more complicated at that level. So it's better you go through the process now. And that's why I'm trying as much as possible to ask feedback, because I know how it can be at the beginning, confusing. So I was expecting the questions to come, no matter how, in quotes, stupid they may look or they may sound. I like those questions because that's how a beginner should think. So since I don't get questions, I also believe that everybody here is an expert. And if you come to my inbox, please, these days I'll be a little bit rude because I ask questions here and no one asks, and you come to my inbox. I don't know what you are trying to achieve. Learning comes with a certain level of, you are feeling shy. Okay, then I'm also feeling shy to reply you. I'm also a very shy person to reply you. So let's come out, learning, ask the questions. That's why we are here. We are here not because we know, we are here because we want to learn. Your question may benefit somebody or may clear someone's doubt. That's why I always ask the question. I cannot think of a question for a beginner because I've passed that stage. I've passed that stage. And things I knew then, I may have even forgotten, or things I thought were the right things. So I ask questions. Not like I like talking, because I want the feedback. You can type to me in the private. A lot of people do it, and then I address it generally. You don't know who asked me. That's okay. But don't wait to get to me back on WeChat. I take it differently. I also take it like you don't respect my time, because I give you the time to ask and you don't ask, and now you want me to talk to you one-on-one. No, I'll not do that. Okay, so that's just by the way. We are all in the group as much as possible. If there's a session and we come, let's ask questions. Else, I'll not be motivated to host another session, because everybody knows I'm just wasting my 2 hours. Okay, so it's very important to ask the questions. The beginning, what's the problem? Okay, I don't even know how to get a topic. Then we take it like that. Okay, I need to give a session on how to get a topic, and I can spend 2 hours talking about that. Then it helps you, but it doesn't mean that you not go through that process of confusion. Everybody gets confused, and then you get help. And then sometimes you appreciate the help after you have gone through the confusion. But if we feed you, you become like a baby with lactogen. You become overfed and all that. So it's not easy. It takes time, but we don't have time. That's the unfortunate thing. Some of us are on scholarship. Some of us are paying by ourselves. We don't have time. So that's why some of these sessions are here, just to help us at least go faster. It doesn't mean you not. Maybe it's like you have a bicycle and now I give you a motor. Yes, but you are still not fast like a plane. You will get there. You need to take time and be patient with yourself. You need to be patient with yourself. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I started early because I was introduced to it early. So you cannot say you want to do things like Mr. Bruce, just 2 months of meeting me. I cannot tell you everything I know. And it's always case specific. And also, I also cannot meet everybody one-on-one to solve your problem. So when we come here, just ask your question. You can interrupt me anytime. I always give that option. So ask. Then you will know. And when you know, ask again. Because what you know will change. There are technologies popping up. People on the call use Glood. They use ChatGPT. I come and tell you, ChatGPT, stop using LLM. You're like, why? What should I do? Okay, then you go another way. We learn, unlearn, relearn again. And the process is like that. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Even me, I read more papers a day. I read a lot of things just about academic. Not because I don't know. I attend all the academic seminars, just sometimes to see another perspective of how someone will teach that same topic. So that when I come here, I can teach. But when I teach it, you guys not ask questions. They're like, then I have to go for another seminar again to find out what will sink down with you guys. I don't get feedback. I don't get questions. I talk to myself after 2 hours. I go to sleep. for so many sessions, it becomes discouraging. Okay, today I'm venting, it becomes discouraging. So ask the questions. I like questions. Ask them. If you cannot ask in the session, just text me in the inbox here now. I'll see it and then I'll address it immediately. Because sometimes you ask me the question, I'm like, what did I say before that question came up? Yeah. So it's better we ask the questions. We have limited time. Let's not waste it. Some of us use 1 whole year for courses. And then second year, first semester, you're supposed to write literature review. You don't even know what to do, right? So time is not on our side. So let's not waste more time. And of course, it's not easy. All right. That's my final words.
Thank you. Well appreciated.
Okay, so one more last chance. 2 minutes, we are gone. We'll close exactly on 9 o'clock. After all I said, so no questions. Hey. Okay, I'm stopping the recording just in case someone wants to.